Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into ancient Egypt. It's a place, that still holds so much mystery.
Absolutely. And specifically, we're looking at their sacred texts.
Right. Not just as old documents, but as active tools that really shaped their worldview, life, death, the whole cosmos.
Exactly. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding these incredibly complex and evolving texts.
And we've dug into some great sources, academic stuff, but also some really recent, exciting archaeological finds.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how these texts weren't static. They changed over thousands of years.
Yeah, reflecting changes in their society, you mean?
Precisely. Moving from something super exclusive just for kings to, well, much wider access. It tells you a lot about how their society itself was shifting.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. The pyramid texts. Old Kingdom, right? Around 2600 BCE or so. What were they all about?
Yeah, they are genuinely the world's oldest religious writings we know of, found right inside the pyramids of kings and queens.
Only for them.
Exclusively. The whole point was, well, twofold. Reanimate the pharaoh's body after death, and then guide his soul up to the stars, the imperishable stars, as they called them.
Wow. And these weren't just written down quietly.
No, they were utterances, meant to be spoken, chanted powerfully, often in the first person. Very dramatic.
And Osiris pops up here first.
That's the first time we see him mentioned in writing, yes. He becomes much more central later on.
Okay, so super exclusive. But things started to change, you said. Middle Kingdom, maybe 2000 BCE onwards, with the Coffin texts.
Exactly. This is what scholars call the democratization of the afterlife. It's a bit of a strong term, maybe, but...
But the idea got out beyond just the pharaoh.
Right. These texts were written, as the name suggests, mostly on coffins.
Yeah.
So wealthy individuals, not just royalty, could now get access to these funerary spells.
And the focus shifted, too. Less skyward. More
towards the underworld, the Duat, a dangerous subterranean realm ruled by Osiris. The coffin texts are full of spells to navigate it.
Is that where the maps come in?
Yes. The famous Book of Two Ways. It's literally the first known map of the ancient Egyptian underworld, showing different routes. And crucially, this is where the idea of a judgment by Osiris, based on how you lived your life, really takes hold.
Okay, so from pyramids to coffins... Then we get to the big one everyone's heard of, the Book of the Dead. Sounds very definitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh.
But it's a bit misleading. It's not a book.
Ah, right. More like a category.
Exactly. It's a collection, a flexible set of spells, maybe around 192 known ones, and illustrations. People would commission copies on papyrus scrolls.
So you could kind of pick and choose.
Sort of, yeah. It became much more widespread, almost you could say commodified. You could buy scrolls with blank spaces left to right in the deceased's name. The number of spells often depended on what you could afford.
And the most famous part, the heart weighing.
Definitely. Spell 125. The weighing of the heart ceremony, where your heart is judged against Mint, the feather of truth. You had to recite the negative confession listing sins you hadn't committed to pass.
You mentioned earlier these texts were active instruments. Let's unpack that. What was the deal with magic, or Heka, and religion? Were they separate things?
That's absolutely key. For them, no, they weren't separate at all. Heka wasn't just magic like we think of it. It was a fundamental cosmic force the gods themselves used.
So the texts were tools to use this force.
Precisely. Reading them, speaking the words, wasn't just prayer. It was seen as activating divine power, almost compelling the gods. The line between spell and prayer was, well, very blurry. The spoken word was paramount.
And the priesthood were the ones who managed all this knowledge.
Yes, the servants, the gods. They were highly educated, the keepers of this sacred knowledge. They worked in temples, but also in these places called houses of life, the Pernank.
Like libraries.
Temple libraries, yes, but much more. Centers for scribal training, copying texts, but also hubs for all kinds of knowledge, medicine, astronomy, theology, rituals. They were the intellectuals, really, tasked with maintaining cosmic balance, Mapap.
Now, you hinted that our understanding isn't static either. Modern discoveries are still changing things.
Oh, absolutely. It's constantly evolving. Take Serabit el-Qadim in the Sinai. There are these really old inscriptions, maybe 300-800 years old, in what might be the earliest alphabet, Proto-Sinaitic.
Okay. And the connection?
Well, it's debated, highly debated, but some researchers propose they found references to a figure like Moses and hints of religious conflict among workers there. It potentially changes timelines, origins of writing, religious identity. It's quite provocative.
Wow. And newer finds, too.
Yes. Just recently, in 2023, they unearthed an incredible Book of the Dead scroll, 43 feet long. Finds like that give us such unprecedented detail.
So with all this new information, how are Egyptologists looking at these texts now? Still as simple guidebooks to the afterlife?
Less so, I'd say. The trend now is moving away from seeing them just as literal guides,
Towards what then?
towards viewing them more as dynamic ritual scripts, texts designed for performance, for ritual efficacy. The focus is less on mapping out a personal journey after death in our modern sense.
And more on how the rituals using these texts place the person within the bigger cosmic picture.
Exactly. Embedding the individual and the community within these ongoing cosmic cycles and processes, they were tools to do things in a ritual context.
So, wrapping up, these weren't just static scriptures, they were living documents, adapting over millennia, deeply woven into the fabric of Egyptian life, belief, and their whole reality.
Absolutely. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. If these texts were so fundamental to their reality, what does it tell us that our understanding of them is still unfolding, still being reshaped by new finds and new ideas? History is always revealing itself, isn't it?